Hello Internet, so nice to see you! If you've ever listened to the music of Jacob Collier, you know that Jacob likes to play some interesting and super complex chord with strange dissonances that somehow seems to work out nice in the chord progression he's using. For instance,
Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun.
I haven't I told you.
Make the Yuletide gay.
now whenever I hear something like that, my first thought is, how can I make a sound like that? Now, it is fun and it's also really super useful to go and transcribe exactly what Jacob is doing in any of those examples, note by note, but then again, if we do that, we just learn one chord here and one chord there. Personally, I don't want to just learn a chord. I want to learn the idea behind the chord. I want to know how I can create new chords in the same way Jacob is doing it. Now, it turns out that even if the chords are actually incredibly complex with a lot of notes and strange dissonances, the idea behind it is not as complex and in fact turns out to be reasonably simple, at least in some situation. And by the way, when I say simple here, I don't want to take away anything from all of Jacob's incredible achievement in music. Anyway, let's take a very simple situation. Let's say we are playing a 2-5-1 chord progression in C major. Now the chord will be D minor 7, G7, and then C major 7th. And we can play them in a few different ways on our guitar. Whenever I play D minor 7, I will play one of those two voicing, either this one or the D minor 9 voicing. And whenever I play the C major 7, I can pick and choose between those voicing here. I have a standard C major 7th, a C major 9, a C 6th, and I have this other, more rare, voicing for C major 7. This voicing is less used because of the harsh dissonance between the B and the C notes. What I'm interested in here is how many possibilities we have for the G7th chord that go way beyond the standard dominant and altered dominant chords. So a standard 2-5-1 will sound this way. One simple way to add more spice to this G7 is to add a tension note like the 6th. Another possible very common way is to alter the chord. So in this case I'm playing a G7 with a sharp 5. Nothing strange here, those sounds are pretty standard. But we can do so much more with this G7 chord. So let's first ask ourselves, why is this G7 chord there? What is the point of this G chord? What is its reason of being? The reason of this G chord is to create tension so that then later when I play the C chord, this tension is resolved, at least partially. So this G chord creates tension which is movement and pushes the song forward from this G7 itself to the C chord. So here's the thing, as long as you keep the bass note going D, G, C, exactly as they are in the standard 2-5-1 progression, then on the G7 you can take all the other notes of the G7, eliminate them and play instead literally any other note, as long as those other notes are close enough to the notes of the following C chord. So this means that sometimes one of the different voicing of the C chord we have seen before will sound better than the other because those notes are closer. Now those are a lot of words I just said, so let me give you some example. What am I playing instead of a G7? I'm playing G, F sharp, B flat, E. Now I want to point out that this chord does not have any of the characteristic notes that are typically associated with G7. We don't have the 7th, we don't have the F, we have an F sharp instead. We don't have the major third B, we have a B flat instead. And yet, when you hear this chord is definitely tense and it definitely resolves into the C major chord. So, this set of notes, despite not technically being a G7 chord, feels pretty much the same in the profile of the chord progression. It creates tension and it moves the song forward. Another example. This chord is G, F sharp, B, D sharp. This chord is G, E, B flat, C sharp. Here's another, probably even more dissonant. This chord is G, F sharp, A, C sharp. I'm not really interested in analyzing each and every one of those chords and find exactly what notes are inside and how they work, etc. Because the fact is, again, pretty much every note you put over this chord, as long as there is some dissonance going, it will sound, again, dissonant, so it will just tend to resolve into the next chord. In fact, a good case can be made that the more dissonant you make those notes, the more tension there is in this chord, the better it is, because it creates more tension and it makes it clear to the listener that you want this chord to sound that way. It's not a mistake. And so it's clear that this chord creates this kind of tension and it's going to be resolved later. This chord is G, E, B flat, D sharp. This chord is G, F sharp, B flat, C sharp. This chord is G, E, G sharp, C. So again, there are two requirements. One is that the bass line is D, G, C, and the other is that the notes you choose are close enough to the next voicing of the C chord. Now we can change this a little bit because, as it happened, it also works if the bass goes D, B, C, with B being the original major third of the G major chord, and also B, as you notice, is very close as a note to the C note in the C major scale, so this seems to work well too. This chord is B, F, B flat, D. This chord is B, F sharp, B flat, C sharp. This chord is B, E, B flat, D. This chord is B, E, B flat, D sharp. This chord is B, F, G sharp, C. Now we made all those examples in the key of C major, but of course you can do everything in a minor key too. In C minor you will use a D minor 7th flat 5 instead, and you will use either a C minor 7 or a C minor 9. And again, for this extended G7th chord, you can use either the bass of G or the bass of B. This is the standard G7, G, F, B, D. G, F sharp, B, E. This is G, F sharp, A, C sharp. This is G, E, B flat, D sharp. This is B, G, B flat, D. This is B, F, A, E. This is B, D sharp, G, C sharp. Again, all those chords are very dissonant, and so you may like them or you may not like them, but the fact is that they do work in the right context.
Mamma mia, that's a spicy meatball!
The reason why you can take this G7 chord and completely destroy it by changing its note and using any kind of notes or eliminate the note of the chord as long as you keep the bass of G or B, it's because of a phenomenon called voice leading. Your ear tends to connect those notes to the next note as long as the next notes are close enough. Since the notes on G7 are dissonant, your ear interprets that as something needs to be resolved, and when you play the C major chord just after, you resolve this kind of dissonance into those notes. To understand exactly how voice leading work and how to use voice leading to make even the strangest chord work in your music and even the most daring dissonance sound good in your music, I do recommend you check out my course, Complete Chord Mastery. This is not a book, it's a complete video course designed specifically for guitar players where we do theory on the guitar fretboard. Everything we do here, it's applied straight to the guitar so that you do your theory on the fretboard and then you know how to apply this in the actual music you play. This course is great for everybody who wants to have more harmonic freedom with the guitar, for everybody who wants to learn how chords and chord progression work, for everybody who wants to write their own music, and for everybody who's playing music of other people and want to make this music sound better or different. If you like this video, don't forget to smash on that like button and click on subscribe and click on notification too, otherwise YouTube will not tell you when I put up a new video. And if you have any kind of questions or comments or requests for other videos, please write them down in the comments. I'm always reading all the comments and I do welcome everybody's opinions and requests. This is Tommaso Zilio of musictheoryforguitar.com, and until next time, enjoy.